The story begins at America's famous college, MIT. We see Professor Gerald teaching his math class. After the lecture, he tells his students that he is going to write a very difficult math problem on the board outside the class. And if any one of them solves it, their name will be written in golden letters in the college. He also motivates them by saying that some of his students have solved such problems before, and today they are at the top of their fields. The question is extremely difficult, so Professor Gerald gives them time until the end of the semester so they can solve it at their own pace. After the lecture, we see a man named Will Hunting who works there as a janitor. He sees the math problem written by the professor. Later, when he goes home, he starts solving the equation on his bathroom mirror. The next day, when he is completely alone, he picks up a piece of chalk and writes the answer on the board. It's a huge thing, because he solves it in just one day. Apart from working, Will spends his time hanging out with his friends. One day, while watching a baseball match, Will sees a boy who used to bully him in school. Seeing him triggers Will's anger. He goes over with his friends and starts a fight. Eventually, Will beats the boy badly. Before things get worse, his friends stop him. But the police arrive, and when a cop tries to stop him, Will attacks the cop too, so he gets arrested. Meanwhile, Professor Gerald learns that the math problem he wrote has been solved. He checks it and sees that someone truly solved it, correctly. He asks his brightest students whether one of them did it, but they all deny it. The professor is shocked. His next class is full. Everyone wants to know who the mystery math genius is. The professor says whoever solved it should come forward so he can reward them. But no one steps ahead. He then writes another problem, one that took him 2 years to solve, and says that even the mystery solver cannot solve this one in a day. Meanwhile, Will is released from jail and goes back to work. He immediately starts solving the new problem. Professor Gerald walks out of his office and sees Will writing on the board. He tries to stop him, thinking Will is just scribbling nonsense. Will sees him coming and runs away. Later, the professor returns and is shocked. Will actually solved the problem. Something that took him 2 years, Will did in minutes. Now he knows who the secret math genius is. After work, Will meets his friends at a bar. Seeing some pretty girls, Will's friend Chucky tries to flirt, claiming he studies at MIT. Another guy overhears and starts questioning him. Chucky can't answer. He knows nothing. Will steps in to defend him and debates with the guy. Will quotes facts flawlessly, humiliating him. He says, "You're paying thousands of dollars, yet everything you're saying is something I read for free at the public library." The guy is silenced. The girls are impressed. One of them, Skylar, gives Will her phone number and asks him to call her sometime. Meanwhile, Professor Gerald tracks down the janitor who solved the problem. He finds Will's name and appears at his court hearing. Will is being charged for assaulting a police officer, and the judge mentions his history of fights and theft. Bail is set at $50,000, about 4 lakh rupees, and Will is sent to jail. Professor Gerald visits him with a deal. He can get Will released, but only if Will agrees to 2 conditions. 1, he must study math with the professor. 2, he must attend therapy. Will laughs but has no choice, so he agrees. He starts math sessions, and the professor is stunned by Will's brilliance. But therapy is a disaster. Will mocks every therapist. He studies their books and insults them using their own psychology theories. One by one, they give up. Finally, Gerald asks an old friend for help, Sean McGuire, now a psychology professor. At first, Sean refuses. But when Gerald explains that Will is special and could destroy his own future, Sean agrees. When Will meets Sean, he does the same thing. He mocks him. He studies Sean's past and even insults his dead wife. Sean snaps and grabs him by the throat, warning him never to disrespect his wife again. Will thinks he broke another therapist. But to Gerald's shock, Sean agrees to continue the sessions. On their next meeting, Sean takes Will to a park and says, "You're just a kid. You don't know anything. Someday you'll have to open up, or you'll lose all the good things in life." Meanwhile, Will goes to a construction job with Chucky. He wants to call Skylar, but hesitates. In their next sessions, Will stays completely silent. Sean also stays silent for a full hour. The same happens again. Finally, Will breaks the silence with a joke, and the tension softens. Sean asks if Will has a girlfriend. Will tells him about Skylar and how he's avoiding her, because he thinks she's too good for him and will eventually